to our Halloween party. You may never leave.
Infirmary Media.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand.
You are now tuned in to the Selling Out Podcast.
What it does is reaches into your brain chemically and locates your happiest memory chemically, and then locks onto that emotion and freezes it chemically, and then it keeps you happy.
Hello, and welcome to this spooky edition of Selling Out. I am one of your hosts, David Schultz, and this big old freaky-looking pumpkin over here by my side is my pal, Nate Gorzinski. Nate, how the heck are you?
I'm good. I'm happy you didn't go with the typical Frankenstein thing, because I'm so tall and lanky, I often get Lurch or Frankenstein. So.
Oh, I wouldn't do that to you.
Pumpkinhead's good. Jack Skellington, something. I'm tall and lanky and
lean.
Yeah, I'm almost Ichabod Craney in my lankiness, but anyway,
that's a weird way to describe yourself. You should put that like a dating profile. I'm Ichabod Craney.
Yeah, man. When you think Ichabod Crane, that's basically what you get with me.
But Halloween, baby! Are you excited?
I am, and I'm excited also because I'm moving more comfortably now. I don't want to bore our listeners with more talk of my physical woes, but dude, I was seriously incapacitated for a few weeks, and we talked all about it and whatever. But I just want to update people that I am feeling a lot better. There's still pain, but I have no trouble moving around really, and things are on the up, and it feels great. It's nice to occasionally appreciate just feeling normal and good. Like sometimes you need a horrible bit of pain to make you appreciate how good it is when it's there, when it's not there. Like the whole bang yourself in the head with a hammer because it feels good when you stop. That's kind of what I got going.
I get it, but the timing is bad.
No
because
shit.
Much like how you shouldn't be dating someone before Christmas, if you were incapacitated, you wouldn't have to get up every 3 minutes because your doorbell was ringing to hand out candy to a bunch of snot-nosed brats.
Yeah, man. Oh, that would be a nightmare.
It's going to be a nightmare because now you can move.
Yeah. But at least I can do it now. Maybe I'll appreciate being able to move. Well, for the first hour. After that, I'll be like, fuck these kids. Stop coming. But
porch light off.
Yeah. But to be honest, I'm actually I think we're going out. I usually go out with my girl and her son because he loves to dress up as any good kid should, man. He'll watch some obscure fucking thing that only him and a handful of people online know about. And it's cool, whatever it is, but it's obscure. And he'll be like, I want to be that. And it's like, a lot of the times it's not even something you can find a ready-made costume for.
Of course
it's just some weird video he likes on YouTube or some video game or some shit. But whatever, it keeps it interesting.
Can't just stroll down to Walmart and buy the $20 costume for that.
Yeah, man. Whatever it is, the Inky Blinky and the Stinky Poo, or whatever he's watching.
Is that really what it is? The Inky Blinky Stinky Poo?
No, but I think I found the title for my kids' book I'm gonna write, and dude, kids' book. It sounds like a racket, man. I could write an easy kids' book. I swear to God. But anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Dude, enough with that. Let's turn off your porch light. 'Tis the season to be scary.
Mm.
Nate,
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what really terrifies or just scares the living shit out of you.
Wow, man. I mean, by this point in life, I think I'm over a lot of my fears, but I've got a little one and kind of a bigger one. The little one is I still get freaked out by spiders. I can't help it.
Sure.
I don't mind snakes. I don't mind rodents, shit like that. I love them, but spiders still freak me out, man. And that's my little one. It is what it is. You can still freak me out with probably a fake spider in my fucking bed or whatever. But but my bigger one, that's a little more, I don't know, abstract or not even, whatever, is playing on stage. One thing I started noticing is if I'm playing and something's going wrong, like one of the other members is off key and it just sounding like shit, or a string snaps or something goes wrong. Like, I hate being on stage where I'm supposed to be entertaining people and something fucking goes wrong that's out of my control, but it's fucking, I don't know. That's a real fear.
That seems really minor. Like if you pop a string or something, like a cord got unplugged, it's a minor malfunction.
Well, a plug getting unplugged, but restringing guitar, I mean, yeah, if you're the type of musician who has a few instruments ready, where if a string snaps, you can just pick up your next one, but enough about my fears.
Whoa. Let me ask you something here.
Yeah.
You went from spiders, and I get it, the eyeballs, the legs, the web shooting out of their asshole.
Yes.
That's some freaky fucking shit. It could elicit a scream.
Right.
But fucking up on stage, yeah. I don't imagine that, like, grabbing your jaw. Oh, no! My fucking string popped!
But I don't have huge emotions anymore. As I've mentioned before, I'm
dead inside. Sure.
Yes, I'm a dead husk of my former self where my emotions are dead. So,
I get it now. That's all you need to say.
Dude, I think being on stage, though, a lot of people have fears of either public speaking or being on stage. Like, that's a real fear. That's a thing people have. And mine, it's not even the specific things I mentioned. It's just the feeling of being on stage with everyone looking at you and something fucks up and it's not you hitting the wrong note. It's just some shit is going wrong and everyone's like, I don't know, that feeling that people are looking at you disappointed and pissed off, and that's
fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's just
piece of shit. Play
it's
for
a
me,
shitty
monkey.
feeling. It is a shitty feeling, and I don't like it, and it freaks me out. So, what my big question, and I think what all our listeners want to know is, what kind of things scare you? What is your great fear in life?
Wow, I'm so glad you asked me. And as a matter of fact, I wrote a little ditty about it, and it goes something like this. Big toe thumb, won't you come? Stick it in my bum. Big toe thumb, won't you come? Won't you come? Big toe thumb.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
You summed it up there. I don't know. Do you want to be a little more specific? Like, where did this fear come from? And specifically, I think I know what you're talking about. You've even mentioned it on another episode or two.
Yeah.
But, why don't you fill us in a little more?
I don't know if the origins are that important.
Okay.
I think the fact of the matter is, if someone has a digit on their hand that looks like it belongs on their foot. Now, this only applies to the thumb. It's not like someone has a pinky that looks like a pinky toe.
That. Right.
But
That would be
stubby
fucking terrifying.
ass.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That stubby ass fucking big toe thumb is just terrible to me. Because can you imagine someone like preparing food with that when it should be on their foot to begin with?
Right, or wiping something off your face, your lip, like you got food on your face, and your girl's like wiping.
No,
because I'm thinking, I'm thinking of who I've seen. The first time I heard you mention this was with the actress Megan Fox, who's a beautiful woman. She's known as that's her title. She's a hot movie star chick.
Oh,
That's-
sure, yeah. Until you
She's
see
gorgeous.
her hands.
Well, that's it. I didn't even notice, and I feel like a lot of people probably didn't notice. But after you brought it up that she has this freakish big toe thumb,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I've looked it up online, and it's like a thing people notice. Like people have mentioned. There's at least 1 or 2 links on Google to
I bet.
references to Megan Fox's
Sure.
big toe thumb. Yeah.
Well, she's a scapegoat. She's
Yeah.
just easy because you can Google her.
Yes.
It's not as easy to Google Uncle Lou
Yeah,
down
yeah,
at
yeah.
whatever tavern because you won't find him. You know what I mean?
Uh.
But she just happens to be a celebrity that has
Right.
one.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
So this
Yeah.
is cross-gender. Like I always
Yes.
think of it as the hot chick with the thumb, the big toe thumb that freaks you out. It freaks you out on anybody. Is
Anybody.
what you're saying. Okay.
Anybody think of that monkey paw going
Yeah.
on, that fucking ape-like grip? No, forget about it. And like I
Wow.
said, the worst thing ever is if you don't see it at first,
Yeah.
but then let's say they're your waiter. And
Yeah.
they come and
yeah.
they put the plate in front of you, and their thumb is right on the edge of that porcelain.
Yeah.
No,
Or
I'm
you.
fucking running out that door, baby.
Hell yeah. Or that your Uncle Lou or whatever is making hamburger patties and slapping them together with with his thumb. Oh god.
This is too much for me to handle. I just can't take it.
No,
And
I wonder.
it's so disgusting, dude. I know. And again, I apologize. People are born this way.
Yeah.
It's not like it's their fault. They weren't like genetically modified or asked.
Well, yeah.
Like, oh, could you please give me my big toe on my hand? No one requests this.
Well, that's
You know?
that may not be true. I was just gonna say, what if you
Mm-hmm.
find out that the person was either born without a thumb or had a severed thumb in an accident, and he did
Transplant.
ask to have his big toe put on his thumb? That's a little kink in that statement.
Oh,
but
yeah, I'd fuck
but
that. I'd say
is-
you go thumbless, motherfucker.
you'd rather go thumbless.
I would rather not have a thumb than have my big toe put on my hand. No way. There's just no way. It's like if you were born with a tail.
Yeah,
You know how
yeah,
they say
yeah.
the tail just kind of creeps back into your spine?
Yeah, man.
I think that happened with the big toe thumb in the womb. Like maybe they had a normal thumb, but for some reason their, terribly crappy DNA
Yeah.
instructed their whatever. What's that fluid in there?
What,
Help me out, scientist.
amniotic fluid?
Whatever
with the baby?
controls the life of a baby. It
Yeah,
said,
it's like
no.
an amniotic fluid in there.
There you go. Whatever it is. I'm just making shit up. I'm throwing shit out there. I
Yeah.
make no sense. But the point is the thumb recedes back into the hand. And it's
Mm.
just a terrible, terrible mutation, a plague upon humankind. And if you're listening and you have one, you should probably go have it amputated. Go get it cut
Wow,
off. Or
man.
just go get a thumb wrestler. Remember those WWF thumb wrestlers from the 80s?
Yes, of course.
Crazy glue it on your thumb.
Ah.
So no one ever sees that fucking monstrosity you have on your hand with a nail.
I'd rather look at a thumb wrestler than look at that freaking.
I'd rather
freak
look at
thing.
Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
Yes, give me the thumbs up. And it's like, hey, say your prayers, take your vitamins. Hey, better than that fucking big toe thumb.
Happy Halloween, this is Count Dracula. Don't trick yourself into believing you can't quit smoking or that vaping is too expensive. Treat yourself to flavorful e-juice and liquids from NorthlandVapor.com. And right now, it's never been easier to save on their already amazing prices. Use code SELLINGOUT19 for 19% off all of the products at NorthlandVapor.com. Don't be scared. Take it from me. After all, I am a count, and I do prefer counting the money in my wallet compared to watching it fly away forever. And remember, adults only. Now on with the show.
Very common with Halloween is alcohol, nudity, craziness, basically stuff that happens 365 anyway, but, it's more pronounced on this holiday, if you will. And Nate, I have a 911 call from the grand old state of Tennessee that I think we should take a listen to. What do you say?
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
In fact, I didn't know what happened till I'd already went by. I saw the blood. That was part of a 911 call made by a man in Tennessee who was heading to work. He made the call after he saw what appeared to be a dead body lying in his neighbor's driveway.
I thought it was somebody. I thought somebody was laying up there on the driveway. I told them what happened, and they said, we'll send somebody out to check it.
What a fucking sense of urgency the cops have, huh?
Right.
There could be a dead body on the scene, and, we'll be out there. We'll be out there to check it.
Yeah, we'll stop by at some point.
Get the cookies and the milk.
This morning about 10 o'clock, I get a pounding on the door.
Several deputies went to the house to investigate.
I said, thank you guys for caring, but I'm doing just fine.
That realistic-looking body in the driveway turned out to be just a decoration for Halloween.
Well, that's pretty surprising. I would have thought that was exclusively an Easter decoration.
Yeah. What weirds me out is that if you look at this man's house, this is the only decoration he has. So you can understand why people are freaked out. Like that, it's not like it's one of those houses with all the shit in the yard. It's a house with a dead body at the garage.
There's nothing for context. There's no jack-o'-lanterns.
Right.
No webbing from the railings. Just a fucking body underneath a garage door.
He couldn't even write Happy Halloween in blood.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
When the police came today, they pulled the boot off to make sure there wasn't a person in there.
That is some top-notch forensics right there. Do we have a body? I don't know, man. Take off his shoe.
Right? There's no CSI technology going on here. They're just like, grab the boot, pull it off. Let's see.
Tennessee's finest right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And the splattered fake blood?
Food coloring and hair gel.
The family says Halloween is their favorite time of the year, and they're getting ready for an upcoming party.
This was actually starting out as a joke, because when I have my Halloween party, I was actually going to dress up under there after everyone's seen it for so long. And then when they come out to get drinks or something, pop up out of the garage door and scare everybody.
Snickers, peanut butter cups, and heart attacks. Come get them, folks.
A joke they thought would never go this far.
But I thought it looked so real and so fun, and I hope people don't take offense to it.
And to make sure there aren't any more mix-ups, the Sheriff's Department posted this on their Facebook page. Attention everyone, this is a Halloween decoration. Do not call 911 reporting a dead body. Instead, congratulate the homeowner on a great display.
Dude, this guy set up the perfect murder, I'm telling you.
Right?
Because he's got the cops already posting on their fucking Twitter or whatever, don't call 911 about this guy. We're not going to check up on this guy. And now the guy can kill whoever the fuck he wants and put him in his yard. And the cops will be like, yeah. We've got a boy who cried dead body scenario on our hands here.
You're right, though. He could just litter the whole fucking yard with bodies and people drive by and be like, oh, great job, Jim. That's a wonderful display you have there. My real question about this is, and, listeners can't see this from the video, but it's obvious this guy is white. Because they would not let an African-American man, a Hispanic man, or anybody of color get away with doing this.
Right. They'd still charge him with something like freaking out the public or public nuisance or some shit. They'd find a way to, get a warrant or probable cause and fuck the dude's life up. Yeah.
This is fucking white privilege on Halloween, folks. Look out.
Yeah, don't call us about crimes at this white dude's house.
Exactly. It's just fucking ridiculous. And, this whole call is just kind of, nonsensical and stupid. We're making fun of it and everything. But, I mean, seriously, Tennessee. And I don't know the town this is in.
Yeah.
But this just, I can't get over the stupidity involved here on every side, every angle.
Right.
But
yeah, it doesn't look good for their finest, for Tennessee's finest. The cops down there, they don't. The story doesn't make them look good, is what I'm saying.
Were you looking for like a nickname for the cops, like the Tennessee Tin Men or the?
There you go.
Tennessee Oak Trees. I don't even know, but yeah, fuck them. Halloween sucks in Tennessee.
Now, being this creepy Halloween season, I have even more of an excuse to indulge in one of my favorite activities, which is watching horror movies. And mind you, I don't stop the rest of the year, but Halloween is like if my girlfriend is like, are you watching another fucking horror movie with my son? It's like, it's Halloween, I mean, let's,
Free pass.
Yeah, let's warp this kid's mind. So he loves horror movies, man. My kid is awesome. But I was thinking, you and I were talking about horror movies and, let's make a list.
Okay.
The 5 horror movies that, I don't want to call them the 5 best or my top 5 because they're not in any particular order.
Right.
But these are 5 horror movies that really affected me or I really appreciate or whatever. They shaped me and played a big part in my life. So
okay, great. I want to hear these because you are the aficionado.
I
don't know dick about dick.
Yeah, well.
And I literally have Dick right next to me. Hey, Richard, how are you?
Hello.
I mean, seriously. So,
what's up, Dick?
Your guide, your 5, and like you said, they're in no particular order, but just 5 films.
Right.
I got to put them on my watch list.
Well, all right. I mean, you've probably seen some of these, but I'll start with John Carpenter's movie, The Thing, back from whatever it was, 1982, I believe. It was actually a remake of an old horror movie from like the 50s called The Thing from Another World, but it's this really dark, creepy, gory movie, and it came out the same time or the same year as E.T., so it was like you've got the friendly little E.T. monster, alien movie rather, and then you've got The Thing, and people did not react well to it when it came out. It was like a bomb. The critics slaughtered it, said it was like full of needless gore. It's very gory, very gross, but it's got Kurt Russell, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's, about a shape-shifting weird alien that disguises itself as people. It's really fucking gory and worth checking out if you've got a strong stomach.
I would have to argue with you about E.T. being really friendly, though.
Okay.
Like, we took him that way, and I don't get it because he looks like a 86-year-old man who got abandoned in a bathtub.
E.T.
Do you know what I mean? There's very little that separates. Yes, there's very little that separates E.T. and the sullen, dried-up alien from Cocoon. It's all wrinkles and nipples. That's it.
Yeah. Well, hey.
Like me.
Yeah, so I guess E.T.'s a little creepy, too, so.
Put him on the list.
Yeah, all right. But I would say another movie that really... This may be the first horror movie. The next movie on my list is probably the first horror movie that showed me that I really love horror movies. And this was... I was at a friend's birthday party when we were all about 8 years old. I'm at his house, and his mother, not really paying attention to what she was renting for us kids, just left us alone in the living room with a copy of Return of the Living Dead, which was an 80s punk rock sort of pseudo-comedy, gory horror movie. And this movie, as a kid, the comedy went right over my head. It was just scary as hell to me. But watching it as an adult, I see there's a lot more humor in it, and it's a really good movie. And there's for a kid watching it, there was like full frontal nudity. Yes! There was zombies eating people. It's where the term brains comes from. It's where the whole zombies eat brains thing comes from. Because if you watch most zombie movies, they just eat people. But when you watch something that parodies zombies, you'll hear the zombies say brains, and that's all from this movie.
It was originally supposed to be quiche.
Quiche. Yeah, they just came and broke into people's houses looking for quiche.
Dom DeLuise was fucked.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So Return of the Living Dead kind of started my whole love for
And you say it was a faux comedy?
Yeah, I mean...
A fomedy? Can we call it a fomedy?
Fomedy. It's a homedy because it's a horror comedy.
Homedy, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that was a great movie. Next on my list is a movie that kind of turned the tables. It made the monsters into the good guys, and the people were kind of scared of what they didn't understand and were fighting them. The movie is called Nightbreed. It's a Clive Barker story that was turned into a movie, and the awesome horror director David Cronenberg, who did not direct this movie, actually acts in it. He plays this homicidal murderer character. But anyway, it's a really good movie. Like I said, it's about the main character basically becomes this monster and finds solace amongst a community of other monsters who all live underneath this cemetery. It's like they have a whole world under the cemetery with rope bridges like the Ewoks had on Endor and shit, but it's all underground, you know, and it's really cool. Visually, it's very cool, and like I said, it opened my eyes to seeing the monsters as not necessarily being bad, and it's kind of got an interesting message in that way, you know, not to hate what you don't understand. So cool. It's a great movie. Yeah, I recommend that one too. That's number 3 on my list. Number 4 is... all these seem to be very gory. I'm looking at this list and...
you like it?
Yeah. But hey, number 4, at its time, and I don't know if this still holds true, but it was touted as cinematically the goriest movie ever made. Now, the movie, which you have seen, is called Dead Alive. It's a zombie movie, I guess, but it's more than that. It's this strange thing where a guy, his grandmother or mother or whatever it is, this old woman, she gets bit by some weird rat at a zoo, and the rat bite infects her, and she becomes this horrible undead thing that's oozing pus and eating people, and
yummy.
It's all made in New Zealand. The director was Mr. Peter Jackson, who went on to do the whole Lord of the Rings
Never
series.
Heard of it. No, doesn't ring a bell.
Well, that's the thing. Peter Jackson he became this award-winning director and doing all this beautiful work, but he came from low-budget horror. You've seen the movie Bad Taste that you referenced like an episode or two ago. Yep. With I'm a Derek and Dereks Don't Run, and that's from this low-budget horror movie called Bad Taste. But anyway, the one that I'm interested is Dead Alive, which in some countries was released under the title Brain Dead. So it's weird. Horror movies sometimes have different names if they're released in different countries, so it's confusing. But
I do too.
Yeah,
I got like 10 different passports. You know, you're on the lam. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, but Dead Alive has a character who's a priest who somehow is also a kung fu master and is kicking the shit out of zombies, but in his priest garb with the collar and the fucking... It's entertaining, and he says, "I kick ass for the Lord" in one part, so it's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's my number 4 pick. If you're into really gory, this one is disgusting. It's got pus dripping into custard. It's got intestines and guts coming alive and attacking people. And it's got a guy picking up a lawnmower and just using it, like running at people with it up in the air and just mashing zombies apart with the bottom of a lawnmower that he's strapped to himself.
What else can you ask for?
It's great.
I mean, really?
It's fucking disgusting. And the last one, it's funny, as I was just talking about Dead Alive, I accidentally said the word Evil Dead. And now I'm bummed out that I forgot. I mean, I would say Evil Dead 2 is probably, it belongs on this list. And I've probably talked about it before, and it's an amazing movie, and that's truthfully the movie that belongs in the number 5 slot, but just because I made this list already and I want to just complete it, I want to say a much cheesier movie to many people, but to me, it was special, and it almost doesn't even fit in the horror genre. But when I was a kid, the movie The Lost Boys made me think I wanted to become a vampire, and I thought Kiefer Sutherland in The Lost Boys was the coolest motherfucker in the world, and looking back on it now, it's very 80s, and it's a lot cheesier when you're older, but something about The Lost Boys, bro, it still is very special to me. It was probably the first movie that you could watch with me and I would annoy the shit out of you because I would literally say every line as they were saying it in the movie. I could recite the whole movie front to back. But it's a vampire movie. It's got the two Corys, Corey Feldman and Corey Haim.
Yeah.
It's got Kiefer Sutherland with an awesome mullet.
They're
and
maggots,
a dangly
Michael.
earring. Yeah, it's got dangly earrings and some great 80s fashion, but it's fucking special, man. But truthfully, Evil Dead 2 probably belongs at that slot, but I want to, they're going to duke it out.
I just mentioned a line from The Lost Boys. You didn't hear me, and I was trying to win kudos points with you.
Well, let me kudos you up. What happened? What did you say it again?
Maggots, Michael. You're eating maggots. How do they taste?
Oh, you're eating maggots. How do they taste?
See? And you missed it because you were waxing poetic or nostalgic or was waxing your legs. I don't know about the movie. I said it. You didn't hear me. I don't need to be here. But listen, let's recap real quick because you had a list of 5. It's now a list of 6.
Yeah, So
if you want to sit down, get fucking grossed out, just totally get so into the Halloween spirit, give me those 6 movies right now.
Right. Okay. The Thing, Return of the Living Dead, Nightbreed, Dead Alive, and The Lost Boys or Evil Dead 2. I would
or both.
say. Yeah, or both. Watch them both. Both fucking awesome.
I told you already cheated. You can just put them on a list of 5, had a little fun without some protection and became a list of 6.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Right on.
And I'm not really going to recommend any movie to anybody, but I will say this. I prefer my horror with a dash of comedy, like we talked about earlier, a little fomedy or a homedy.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I'll say, you want to watch a funny movie, go out and see if you can find Ed and His Dead Mother.
That was a great one.
That
Steve
was a
Buscemi.
good one, right?
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi, and that was zombie-esque, if you will, with a little bit of a twist. And, I think it's good for laughs, and people will enjoy it. And a lot of people, when I mention it, they go, what? What fucking movie is that? I'm like, it's a little old. I remember it from back in the 90s when I was a whippersnapper.
Yeah. Isn't that in black and white?
No, that was in color.
Oh, okay. What am I thinking of? I remember it. It was a great movie. And, because even, I believe Ned Beatty was in it, too. And
yes.
Yeah.
That's my gore. See, I'm gory, too. And you are the gore because you are Nate Gorzinski.
That's
you
right.
see that? It all fucking ties together in a nice little bow around your neck before it decapitates your head for Halloween. Curses! What is a curse? Well, a curse, also known as an anathema, which happened to be the name of about 6,000 metal bands back in the 90s. Yeah!
We knew a band named Anathema. Yeah.
We did, and it was my uncle's band, but the thing was, again, every other you could find any band flyer in a gutter, and that was like one of the acts on it.
Right.
But a curse is any express wish that some form of adversity or misfortune would befall or attach to one or more persons, a place, or an object. In particular, curse may refer to a wish or pronouncement made effective by a supernatural or spiritual power, such as a god, spirit, natural force, spell by magic, or witchcraft. In a latter sense, a curse can also be referred to as a hex or a jinx. In many belief systems, the curse can be dispelled, requiring elaborate rituals or prayers. That is your lesson for the day on curses, which leads me to ask you, Nathan, if you could curse anybody on the earth, who would you in fact curse, and what would you curse them with?
Jeez, who would I curse them with? I mean, who would I curse them with? No, who would I curse is the weird question. I'm tempted to go the easy route and say I would curse our President Donald Trump.
That's too easy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so easy, man. And so who would I curse?
Let's
I know
get
what
personal.
the curse. Yeah,
let's get personal on air and expose someone you can't stand to everybody out there in podcast land on the internet.
Oh man, I don't have a lot of enemies, dude. I mean, I guess I could pick an old teacher from school that I couldn't stand. But that's like getting petty because that was fucking 25 years ago, and I don't have a lot of enemies, Dave. I don't know. How about this? To the asshole that was working at Starbucks the other day and could not get my order right and then acted like an asshole when I brought it up and needed him to change it and had to return what I got because he didn't make what I wanted. So,
all right, perfect.
So that fucker gets my curse of every time he goes to like pour sugar or salt into something, the cap malfunctions and all the sugar or salt goes into his shit. So,
wow.
Yeah, man.
You're putting him out of a job.
Yeah, well,
I'm talking. Get fired.
Well, I didn't even think of the job ramifications. I was thinking of just his personal ruining a lot of meals or coffees for himself. But you're right. Being a barista, he would suffer. Although you put your own sugar and shit, I guess, in most of the stuff. So I don't know. Whatever. It would ruin a lot of his personal dishes, though. So fuck that, dude.
How can he take the curse off? What would be the ritual in that little bit I just gave you? What would be the thing? Like, could he fucking run through the streets naked, screaming a code word or something? Or he'd have to sacrifice a goat?
Yeah, I think he'd just have to shave his head and then put a bunch of the coffee stirs from Starbucks up his ass, light them on fire, because they're wood. They use the wood ones. And,
they're eco-friendly.
Yeah, but
not safe for your anus.
He'd definitely be naked, and yeah, I think he'd have to walk down a busy street with his anus flaming and his head shaved and completely naked.
Oh my god! I love how your curse initially wasn't job oriented until I brought it up to you. You had no idea.
Yeah.
You just like pouring sugar and stuff and the cap falling off just really sucks.
Yeah,
and that's why you used it as a curse, and that makes a lot of sense. But then after that, you made it so he would have to go into work, grab a bunch of these stirrers, jam them into his rectum. I emphasize to his rectum, light them on fire.
That's
to
right.
Remove this hex.
That's right.
Holy cow.
Yeah, dude. Fuck it. We're going all the way with this Starbucks thing, man.
Oh, social media, all that stuff, this amazing technology we have in the world. We can talk to perfect strangers, get their opinions on things, and vice versa. We tend to be fairly prominent on Twitter. And so I asked the Twitter populace, in your opinion, who is the most iconic horror movie character? Contemporary or classic? You just comment below, to which we get some nice responses here. First one from @ProfessorFrenzy, who's a great podcaster in his own right. Thank you for listening to the show. He is the great Jerry Green. He picked Bela Lugosi, Dracula. That's a classic, right? That's what we asked for. @Greg Litchfield chose The Wolfman. Thank you again for the response. @RonBar316 put Freddy Krueger, which is a very popular choice. We got a lot of the Freddys, so I don't know what it is about having your face look like a melted cheese pizza.
It's the claws, man. I'm thinking it's the claws.
The claw. It's very, very hip. I might need to get one of those myself.
Yeah.
@BadDrunks, another popular one was Jason Voorhees. So get your hockey mask ready. To me, that's like the most generic, most boring Halloween costume of all time, though.
Yeah.
Like, if a kid came to my door and he had just a fucking, glow-in-the-dark hockey mask from the dollar store, I'd kick him the fuck out. Get out of here. @Retail Podcast, the final one I have here. Another popular choice that we got quite a few of was Michael Myers from, hey, why not? It's Halloween.
Yeah.
I want to thank all that replied. And to those that I didn't mention, I appreciate the engagement and there's an invisible check on its way to you in the mail. Now, if any of you want to reach out to us, it is easy peasy lemon squeezy. As I mentioned earlier, it's at Selling Out Show on Twitter, at Selling Out Show 1 on Facebook. We now have an Instagram because just like tight rolling your pants and using slap bracelets, all the kids are into it. And you can find us at Selling Out Show. You can send us an email, sellingoutshow@gmail.com, or hit up our digits and leave us a voicemail at 774-701-1993. I recommend all these methods. Otherwise, you will end up in Nate's cauldron, all stewed up, chewed up, and ready to go. Nate, without sponsors, what will we do? We need partners here to help us produce this wonderful little show that we make for all the great listeners out there. And one of them is Alpine Hemp at alpinehemp.com. Nate, you're a big fan of the CBD.
I am, man. I've definitely been taking advantage of it lately because of this back issue that I've had, but I use it to help me sleep. CBD is amazing to help sleep soundly throughout the night, nice restful sleep, to calm your mood and to ease pain when you have some kind of issue or just life's general wear and tear.
Definitely check them out, alpinehemp.com. Plus, they have a great little promotion on there. It's a scratch and win, so you can get a coupon code for some percentage off your order, or if you're a degenerate gambler, you can just go on there and scratch your life's content. Plus, we also have the code SELLINGOUT19. You can save 19% off that. We also have Spunk Lube, and I gotta tell you, Spunk Lube saved my marriage because I am one ugly motherfucker, and there is no way, and I'm fat, so there's no way my wife wanted me to mount her without a little slip and slide action to make the whole process a little bit easier on, her side of everything here.
Yeah, it's a miracle product. Yeah.
It really is, and I want to thank Spunk Lube. You can go on their website, spunklube.com. They sell 3 different varieties, great price, discreet shipping. Don't live a boring sex life anymore. Get wild with Spunk Lube.
Dust off your LPs. It's time for Nate's Notes.
Despite my disdain for the end of summer each year and my less than enthusiastic reception of autumn, I do hold a special place in my heart for that most fun of all holidays, Halloween. Maybe it's the kid in me or some remnant of my gothy teenage years, but it's one of the few situations where I still feel that sense of magic, and the world seems a little more exciting than usual. Last year at this time, I centered the Halloween episode's Nate's Notes around the goth genre in general. I mentioned some acts that had a hand in creating the goth sound, and some that continue to carry the goth torch to this day. There are tons of variations on what could be considered goth, in a musical sense, from rock and metal bands like Typo Negative to electronic sample-heavy bands ranging from Skinny Puppy to Combi Christ, who are more or less a dark rave dance band. A lot of it has become unwittingly self-parody, and truthfully kind of easy to make fun of. One artist I mentioned briefly last year was Australian singer-songwriter Nick Cave. This episode, I feel like delving deeper into the guy because in a genre so watered down by cookie-cutter, hot topic, knockoff bands, Nick Cave has not only remained super prolific and steadily inspired to write and perform, but his work has always seemed to have more depth and authenticity to it than a lot of the bands who've popped up in the 40 years since he started doing his thing. Cave began in a sort of post-punk project that was called The Boys Next Door, but before long, things shifted, and it became the more confrontational and avant-garde band, The Birthday Party. For a time in the early 80s, The Birthday Party made a lot of noise and inspired a lot of artists that went on to more success than they. Henry Rollins, for one, has written and spoken of his respect for their aggressive sound and their dangerous image. He freely admits to being a big fan. It was punk rock, but more chaotic and unpredictable, and at the center of it all was frontman Nick Cave, with his pale, almost skeletal frame and shock of wild, jet-black hair, throwing himself around the stage and barking out lyrics like a man possessed. At the time, there really wasn't anything like it. All things unfortunately come to an end, and as well as having some personal issues with other band members, Cave was eager to flex some new artistic muscles. On the final Birthday Party album, he had started toying with a different lyrical approach. Instead of the sort of stream of consciousness lyrics found on earlier songs, he decided to work in more of a narrative on some of the material. Write a song centered around a fictional character. Storytelling as songwriting. When he branched out on his own, taking a member or two of the Birthday Party with him to help out, he shifted further into this style of writing stories into the songs. Thus, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds was born. A perfect example of what I'm talking about can be found on the song The Mercy Seat, which was one of his first songs with the Bad Seeds, and still remains a crowd favorite. Johnny Cash did a cover of The Mercy Seat years later, and it sounds like something he would have written himself. The term The Mercy Seat refers to the electric chair, and the song is sung from the point of view of a man sitting on death row, noticing his perspective on things changing as his time draws to an end. The refrain is, "I'm not afraid to die," but it almost becomes less convincing the more he says it. It's a haunting track, and sets the tone for what would follow on subsequent albums, and there have been a lot of subsequent albums. Stylistically, the Bad Seeds are miles apart from the chaotic yelping of the Birthday Party. As well as experimenting with lyrical approaches, there's been a lot of musical experimentation. To date, this project has released 17 albums, and there are blues numbers, folk music, piano ballads, and torch songs, and some stuff that borders on country, but there's also more artsy and confrontational material, just not really in any kind of punk rock sort of way. He seems to be inspired by Leonard Cohen and Tom Waits on a lot of tracks. The most recent few albums have leaned into electronic and experimental ambient territory, but through it all, the connective thread that runs through all of his work is a tendency toward dark topics. The songs are often about creepy or morbid subjects. One record is called Murder Ballads, and each song tells a poetic story involving, surprise, murder. Over the course of his long career, Cave has created this dark, mysterious persona between his lyrics, his album artwork, and even the way he gives interviews and the way he answers questions. It's all to perpetuate this image of a black-clad, almost vampiric character. Over his roughly 40 years in the game, he has sculpted this image, even going so far as to take part in a faux documentary in 2014 that depicted a fictional 24 hours in his life, making him look less like a guy in his late 50s working on the grind of writing a new album, and more like some musical magician harnessing his muse while living this intriguingly dark lifestyle. The man's work isn't all fictional and calculated, of course. The most recent few albums have been experiments in mournful, droning, almost meditative ambience. His lyrics particularly introspective after years of writing about fictional characters. It turns out that during the writing process of the first of these newer, different albums, Cave was dealing with some real personal tragedy, so he had plenty to write about. His 15-year-old son had taken acid for the first time with some friends and decided to go on a walkabout of sorts, but ended up falling from a cliff and dying. A sad ending to such a short life. A few years later, and a couple more records on, Nick Cave continues to write, record, and tour to the pleasure of his many fans. The man is timeless, and his music continues to entertain and inspire. He's survived personal tragedy, changing cultural zeitgeists, and even managed to crawl out of his own heroin addiction years ago, which is a whole other story I won't go into here. But suffice it to say, Nick Cave is a legendary, almost mythical creature stalking around his own dark corners of the musical landscape. Do yourself a favor and check out some of his material this Halloween, or really anytime. There's an almost intimidating catalog of music to pick through, but I often suggest the song that I picked for this episode's recommended listening when someone asks where to start. It's a little devilish tune called Red Right Hand.
He'll reach deep into the hole, heal your shrinking soul, but there won't be a single thing that you can do. He's a god, he's a man, he's a ghost, he's a guru. They're whispering his name through this disappearing land, but hidden in his coat is a red right hand.
So yeah, dude, Nick Cave is this weird, dark, living vampire, but he's a troubadour, and he's just created this cool
great last name.
So I don't know.
Is that his real last name, or is his last name something like Minshevitz or something?
I'm sure it's fake. To be honest, I actually am not 100% sure, but it would be really cool if it were his real name. I think I'm literally looking it up as I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay.
And
right. Thank you, Google.
It's just saying Nick Cave was born in Australia in 1957. It doesn't say. Apparently, Nicholas Edward Cave.
Well,
that's
Australia. They're all made up. That was an island of prisoners. So the names came from where you lived.
Yeah, man.
Not what you did for a living, because everybody was a thief. So it could be John Thief, Bob Thief. It had to be like, well, I'm Nick Cave, and I'm Jimmy Under the Rock, and I'm Bobby
he was
in the tree.
He was named after where they hid from the cops.
That's why I'm Dave 7-Eleven. Actually, no, that'd be wrong, because you'd be robbing a 7-Eleven. But
I'm
still.
Nate Bulkhead.
Bulkhead?
Nate Bulkhead, or Basement, or some shit.
I was going to say Bulkhead. Jeez Louise, that's actually kind of impressive, like Cave. I like it.
Yeah,
well,
that could be Nate Bulkhead.
There you go. From Ichabod Crane to Bulkhead. There you go. What a transition from beginning to end of show. Now, something that I like is Nate's Notes. I love it. Can't get enough of it. And each and every episode, you give us some recommended listening, some homework to do, if you will. Some good tunage. Yeah, a little bit, right? And you post it on the Facebook page.
Sure.
So, what do you got for us this time out?
All right. I am thinking, I'm going to recommend a song by a band that in the first few episodes of our show, I mentioned them probably every episode for a while, but it's been a long time.
Burt Bacharach.
I think we're due for a little recommended listening of NoFX, and the song is called It Ain't Lonely at the Bottom. And so, I think that would be a good one to leave you people with on this holiday, and enjoy it.
We call it a holiday. Halloween isn't really a holiday. The mail is still delivered. Banks are still open. There's school. So, I mean, really, it's more just an excuse for people to get drunk and girls to dress slutty, and I've got no problem with that.
Yeah.
But maybe we should, in fact, make it a holiday. What do you think?
I mean, to me, it is a holiday. It's always been a holiday. You know, for kids, it's a fucking holiday.
Yeah.
They may not get the day off, but if you ask any kid, Halloween is a holiday. So, yeah, we should get a day off, though. If that's what you're getting at, yeah, let's do it.
Paid.
Yeah, man.
Not just a day off. Get it off fucking with, like, paycheck involved. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
That's a lot of candy I got to buy at the dollar store. That's a lot of cheap fucking Smarties.
Yeah.
And generic fucking orange slices I gotta buy, which, to be honest, I can't believe I just said that, because that's one of the worst things of any Halloween is when someone puts like a loose candy
Yeah, man.
in the bag, and all kinds of shit gets stuck to it, like lint,
Right.
and then it's got sugar on it, and the sugar is flaking off. So if someone gives you an orange, like a candy orange slice, not a real orange slice, because that's that's a soccer
that's even
game.
weirder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a soccer mom right there. Don't get into her van. Don't do it. But you know, that the person deserves to be egged, toilet papered, or, you know,
They're
decapitated.
giving out bananas. They're giving out fucking fruit and shit. That shit sucks.
Oh,
But
God.
whatever.
That's big toe thumb-esque, because I don't eat fruit.
Yeah, man.
I couldn't imagine such a thing. That banana would end up in that motherfucker's tailpipe in 2 seconds flat. Thanks for the fruit. Now fucking choke on your fumes, asshole. You know, but even though it's not an official holiday and, you know, we're griping about it, whatever, I want to wish everybody out there happy trick-or-treating, happy drinking, happy accidentally making a spawn on Halloween, because of course I'm sure that's gonna. I thought she was hot. She was dressed up like a fucking nurse. I woke up. I was so wrong. Oh, and it was my cousin. Oh shit!
Regrets.
Fucking Halloween. But anyway, everybody out there, that didn't happen to me.
Just quickly, I have to
just clarify.
I just want to say,
Yeah.
No, I do want to say, I haven't mentioned my dad's birthday is Halloween, so I just want to say happy birthday to my dad. And my brother's birthday is 2 days before Halloween, and my girl's son is the day after Halloween, but my dad's is right on Halloween. So happy birthday to him, and happy Halloween to all of you people out there, man.
Yeah, right on. Happy Halloween. Happy birthday to all Nate's family. Fuck everybody else. But no, seriously, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Virtual hugs for all of you. And save me some Butterfingers, will you? I am Dave. That is Nate. And this has been Selling Out.
Peace.
Infirmary Media.